Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Talking Ball podcast. This is episode 19. I see we got a new setup and different little camera angle. Trying out some new stuff. And yeah, we're going to do a new format with the podcast. It's going to be kind of the same. We're going to go through NFL football, and I'm going to talk more about the games itself than just all the numbers and the stats. Try to rush through everything. I don't want to do that anymore. And as for college football and basketball, YouTube will see all the scores of every game in the top 25 of football and basketball. But I'm just going to skim through some of the more notable games for the podcast because it's just, I'm hopefully going to run out of time talking about football. And by the time I get to college basketball and college football, I won't have much time. So I'm going to throw the scores up on the screen. If you're listening on Spotify, you won't get all the scores, but I'll tell you some, the upsets, the top five teams, how they did, and any notable games like that. And yeah. So we're going to start with football, though. A little game from last week on, I think it was on Wednesday. The Steelers-Ravens count as week 12's last game. The Steelers won this one. The Ravens didn't have Lamar Jackson, Mark Ingram. RG3 was in there. He ran the ball more than he passed, and he threw an interception. Trace McSorley came in for a decent amount, threw 2 completions, and had a big touchdown to Marquise Brown. This game for the Steelers was very lackluster. A team that doesn't have their best quarterback have the MVP of the league last year on it. They don't have their starting running back, and I'm pretty sure a few of their defensive guys were out. So for the Steelers only to win this one by 5 was kind of disappointing. Their offense, I said it all season, their offense just isn't impressing me, at all. They won 19-14 against this Ravens team, where they had a pick 6. They got a fumble recovery on defense. So this offense just didn't do anything. Ben Roethlisberger, his completion percentages are not great. He threw 1 touchdown in this one and an interception. So this Steelers defense is really the one that's been carrying them, and their offense needs to figure it out, because we'll see in the next game where their offense also didn't figure it out, and it cost them. So after this one, I still have I don't think Pittsburgh's a Super Bowl team. I know they're 11 and, well, I'm going to spoil it. They're 11-1, but I just don't think they can beat the Chiefs or the Packers or the Bills. I think all those teams have a better shot at winning than the Steelers. I think the Titans are better if they get their defense in shape. But the Steelers' offense is just not good. Big Ben isn't who he once was. He isn't that Super Bowl quarterback anymore. Their running game is not great. They had 60 rushing yards in this one from their running back. Just very stagnant, slow offense. Moving into Week 13, though, Saints-Falcons. This one was a pretty good one. Taysom Hill threw his first touchdown pass. Drew Brees is said to be coming back by the end of the season with the 11 broken ribs and collapsed lung. I don't know how true that is. Either way, if the Saints are winning with Taysom Hill at quarterback, that's 2 in a row. That's 2 in a row for the Saints with Taysom Hill. Let me see. Oh, that's 3 in a row with Taysom Hill. Beat the Falcons twice and the Broncos once. I think he could be their quarterback, for sure. I found it weird why they went and got Jameis Winston to be, a backup quarterback, and then Drew Brees gets hurt and they need one, and they put Taysom Hill in instead of Jameis. But I mean, it's worked out. Obviously, they're 3-0. They got a couple hard ones coming up with the Eagles, Chiefs, and Vikings. 3 very good defenses. Obviously, the Chiefs are one of the best teams in the league, and the Vikings are really good. The Eagles suck on offense, but they do have a really good defense. And then they got the Panthers to end the season. So the Saints right now, they're 10-2. And I think I don't think Taysom Hill can lead them through the playoffs. Although I do think he is a good quarterback / running back hybrid. And I do think he can be the future. He's young. He's not, he's a young guy. And right now, that's who's winning. He's winning games for him, so he's going to be their guy moving forward, I'd assume. Sean Payton loves him. And, hey, he's as close as you can get right now, I think, to Lamar Jackson. Hard runner, tough runner. He won't slide. He'll run through you. And he always fights for that extra yardage because he's not a traditional quarterback. He lines up at wide receiver. He lines up at running back. He'll play defense. He'll punt. He'll return the ball on kicks. He does everything. But as of right now, probably should start learning more of the quarterback role for him. He's 30 years old. And if Drew Brees doesn't come back, then they're going to need a guy moving forward. And for the Saints, it's looking like it's going to be him. As for the Falcons, their disappointing season continues as they fall to 4-8. Not much is going well for the Falcons this year. You guys fired Dan Quinn and your GM. Congrats. You need to do that a year ago, too. As for you guys right now, I don't think Matt Ryan is it. I don't think he's been the same since 3 years ago. He still puts up numbers, but those numbers are being put up when you're down 20 in the fourth quarter, and he throws for 300 yards and a touchdown, and then you guys lose by 14. So their offensive line is bad. Gave up 3 sacks in this one. But yeah, the Falcons, they lost their first, 5? Lost their first 5. Lost their first 6 out of their first 7. Won a couple. Lost a couple, won 1. Their defense is bleh. Todd Gurley isn't doing what we wanted him to do. He averaged 2.6 yards a carry since week 6. And he did he even play in this game against the Saints? Because I got Ito Smith as their leading rusher. So, Yeah, Todd Gurley had 8 carries for 16 yards in this one. Obviously, the Saints have a good defense, and the Falcons have a bad offensive line. But Todd Gurley is getting 8 carries for 16 yards, 2 yards a carry. Ito Smith is their leading rusher with 36. You can't do it all through the air, man. Teams that don't have rushing offense tend to struggle, as we've seen. And it's just not working for him. So I don't know what you guys want to do. I don't know if you guys are gonna draft a quarterback, draft offensive line, draft running back, something. We're gonna move on to Lions and Bears. The Lions won this one after scoring 2 unanswered. Adrian Peterson looked back in his form. 57 yards, 2 touchdowns for him. Matthew Stafford throws for over 400 and 3 touchdowns. The Lions are looking all right. They're 2-2 in their last 4. They're 5-7 overall. They're 5-7 overall after a very rough start to the season, but they turned around a bit. They lost their first 3 out of their first 4. Won 2 meaningless ones in a row, lost a couple, and then they've lost 4 out of the last 6. So actually, they're 2-4 in their last 6. You fired Matt Patricia. You got your first win over your interim head coach. I think firing Matt Patricia was a great idea. I don't think he was fit to be a coach. He was a great defensive coordinator in New England, and I liked him. I liked him in New England, but I just don't think he was a great head coach. Didn't have the resume as many others, and like a guy like Robert Saleh. I think Robert Saleh is going to get a very good head coaching job. And I think he's a very good coach, and he's going to bring passion. Matt Patricia was 13-29 with the Lions as head coach after spending 6 years in New England, winning Super Bowls and whatnot. So, good move by the Lions for firing him. They got their first win. Everybody thought Matthew Stafford was going to be MVP form this season, which, yeah, I thought he could have been. With Matthew Stafford, he's a guy that puts up a bunch of numbers every week, but just doesn't win. They're last in their division, tied with Chicago, who they just beat. Nobody's taking that from the Packers, though, but you do have the Vikings to chase at 6-6. Yeah. Oh, there we go. All right. Anyways, for the Bears, you guys started Trubisky last couple weeks. Resulted in 2 L's. I don't know. I don't know what to do, Bears fans, for you guys. Trubisky, you guys are 0-6 since starting 5-1. It's rough. You guys got 3 out of your 4 left are very tough ones. Texans, the Vikings, and the Packers. You have the Jaguars in Week 17, but guys lose to them. I don't know what else to say. David Montgomery is looking all right when he is in. He had 72 yards, 2 touchdowns. I just don't know what the future of quarterbacking looks for you guys. I don't think Trubisky's it. I don't think he is the guy that you're gonna continue your franchise with. He started 3-0 and you benched him. Then you guys went 2-1, lost 4, put Trubisky back in, lost 2 more. And you lost one against the Lions, where you had a lead, and then you threw it away. Bears fans, I don't know what you guys are going to do. I don't know if Matt Nagy needs to be fired. I don't know if you guys need a different quarterback. I hear Carson Wentz is, getting benched, so try to make a deal with them. Moving on to Browns-Titans. This was a good one. Pretty big deficit at halftime, where it was 38-7 at the half. Then in the second half, the Titans outscored them 28-3. Baker threw 4 touchdowns, all 4 of his touchdowns in the first half. The Browns only scored 3 points in the second half. The Titans' defense has struggled. They haven't been the best defense in the world, and giving up 28 points in the second quarter just proves that they, aren't the best defense in the world. The Browns are 9-3. It's the first time. What did it say? Like 2000 something, like 2003, 2006, 2004, something like that. Since the early 2000s, since the Browns have had a winning record, they're locked to have a winning record. They could go 0-4, and they would be 9-7. Their last 4, they got the Ravens, the Giants, the Jets, and then the Steelers. So, in all honesty, I think they'll go 3-1 to end it. I want to give the benefit of the doubt to the Steelers. And I think the Steelers can beat this team because Baker struggles against good defenses. The Jets and the Giants don't have good defense. The Giants' defense stepped up really big against Seattle. I don't think they're that great, though. And the Ravens' defense isn't that great either. You play well. He doesn't play well against good defenses, right? Steelers, they lost 38-7. The Raiders have a good defense. They lost 16-6. The Ravens have a good defense, they have a decent defense. They did lose that one 38-6, though. The Eagles have a good defense. They won by 5. The Jaguars have a good defense. They won by 2. The Texans have a good defense. They won by 3. So yeah, and the teams that don't have great defense, you kill, or not necessarily kill, but you beat the Cowboys 49-38. You beat them by 11. Their defense isn't great. You beat the Washington football team 34-20. The Titans, you were up 38-7 at halftime. I don't think Baker is a bad quarterback. I don't think he's a great quarterback. But he does well against not great defenses. Now, do the defenses make him look like a good quarterback, or is he actually a good quarterback and playing well against the defenses? That's up to you guys to say, because he's showing that he's playing. He's balling right now against these teams. 334 yards, 4 touchdowns against the Titans, whose defense isn't terrible. but I mean, they're not great. As for the Titans, tough running game here. You go into the second half down 38-7. You're not going to be running the ball too much. You want to score fast. So they threw Ryan Tannehill a bunch, 45 times, actually. That might be his most passes this season. Yeah, 45 passes is his most. He had 43 in week 1, 41 in week 6, and then 45 in this one. So that's the most passes he's attempted all season. Derrick Henry only ran 15 times for 60 yards. So the defense is what needs to be shored up for the Titans. They have the offense. Ryan Tannehill can be that quarterback if he needs to be. But you don't want him to be because you have the best running back in the NFL in Derrick Henry. So if you can lean on Henry and you don't need to throw the ball that much, that's perfect for the Titans. Although they can do it. They have good receivers. Corey Davis, A.J. Brown. Corey Davis had 182 yards in this one on 11 catches. So they can... Ryan Tannehill and the Titans receivers can do it. They just don't need to. They don't need to. And Derrick Henry was shut down by the Browns in this one. But I think, Derrick Henry's not going to get shut down many times. He's going to go for 200 plus yards, 2-3 touchdowns. Pretty much every game. Once we get into the playoffs is really where they're going to have to shine. Because they're going to have to eventually probably go against the Steelers or the Chiefs or the Bills, who have a good defense. The Dolphins' defense is playing really well. The Dolphins have allowed the least amount of points in their conference. At 212, that's way less than anybody. The Steelers have allowed 211. And so the Dolphins have the second best defense from the standpoint of points allowed. They've allowed 212 points, and the Steelers have allowed 211 points. So this Dolphins defense isn't anything to mess with. I think the Dolphins are actually pretty good this year. They're going to get the wild card spot over the Patriots, so. Anyways. Titans, you don't have to rely on the run game. I don't want to say, relying on the run game is going to kill you guys in the playoffs, because you didn't. You don't rely on the run game. You barely lost this game, and Tannehill put up 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. He did throw an interception, but your run game was non-existent. McNichols had a 2-yard touchdown, but Derrick Henry had 60 total yards. So you don't have to rely on the run game, but you don't want to rely on Tannehill to win you games. You don't want to come back from behind. The defense needs to be shored up. You don't want to give up 38 points in a half. And the defense did great in the second half. Although the Browns are probably trying to run as much clock as they could before they got caught up on. Anyways, enough with those guys. We're going to move on to Bengals, Dolphins. I talked a little bit about the Dolphins already. Bengals, tough season for you guys. It's chalked. You guys weren't great with Joe Burrow. You guys aren't any better without him. Quarterback, this season for the Bengals fans, I wouldn't even watch anymore. If you guys are. losing your starting quarterback is tough, and most teams don't get through it, and you guys are not. Your offensive line is terrible, so you guys have lost the last 4 in a row. And Joe Burrow got hurt in Washington. Their offensive line is bad. They're a lot of them are hurt. Their starting guard and their starting center got hurt yesterday, and their starting O-tackle was hurt a couple days ago. Those guys weren't hurt, at least as far as I know, when Joe Burrow was there. Still have a terrible offensive line. And you get Joe Burrow back next season, draft some O-line, draft some defense, some weapons. You guys really need everything. Wide receiver wise, Tosh Boyd's good, T. Higgins is good. You got Joe Mixon, who's good. You need an offensive line and you need a defense. You need a defense. Let's see. Even with Joe Burrow being hurt, let's see. Brandon Allen has gotten sacked 7 times already. Ryan Finley got sacked 5 times already. They gave up 6 sacks against the Dolphins. 6 sacks against the Dolphins. 3 for Kyle Van Noy. And I'm trying to find. There he is, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is 5th leading quarterback in sacks. And he's been out for 2.5 weeks. He's been sacked 32 times. That's more than Matt Ryan, Justin Herbert, Kirk Cousins, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Cam Newton, Derek Carr, Ryan Tannehill, Alex Smith, Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Nick Mullins, Phillip Rivers, Aaron Rodgers, Dwayne Haskins. A lot of people. I don't know why I said Dwayne Haskins as if he has played most of the season. But yes, I was trying to go through guys that have played most of the season at least. Excuse me. Anyways, 5th in sacks allowed. And if you throw on Finley's and Allen's, let's see, that'd be 39. 39 would propel him into 3rd. And then plus 5 would be 44. That'd propel him into 2nd. Carson Wentz is the most sacked quarterback at 50. Then Russell Wilson at 40. If you add up the 3 quarterbacks' number of sacks with the Cincinnati Bengals, they'd be at 49. Or 44. That's just crazy. And obviously, they don't have the worst O-line. The Eagles do. Obviously, Carson Wentz being sacked 50 times, and even Jalen Hurts was sacked 3 times in the little time he got. That's 53 for the team. And it's not helping Carson Wentz. I'll get to them a little bit later. But we're still on the Bengals. I'm going to move off the Bengals. You need no line. Joe Burrow. For your starting franchise quarterback, to be 5th in most sacked, and he hasn't even played in 2 weeks, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. And their defense is terrible as well. Points allowed, 308. Who's that worse than? I'm trying to find. It's worse than the Bears. That's worse than the Eagles. Worse than the Falcons, whose defense isn't great. Almost worse than the Seahawks, whose defense is probably one of the worst. But the Bengals, you guys just need to look forward to next year. That's all I can really tell you. Dolphins, on the other hand, you guys are looking good. Tua's looking good. 300 yards and a touchdown in this one. You know, your Myles Gaskin is panning out pretty well. Your receiving core, Gesicki, Devontae Parker, Preston Williams, they're all doing well. And your defense is one of the better defenses. Definitely the best defense in the AFC East. As they only allowed 212 points. And their net points is 91, which is really good, which is the difference between your points for and points allowed. To put that into perspective, the Bills are 27 net points, Patriots at 19, and the Jets are negative 173. They definitely have the worst net points in the league. Who's the best net points? The Steelers have the best net points in the league at 123. Yeah. But for the Dolphins, you guys are looking like a wild card team as of right now, 8-4. The Bills are only 9-3, so this is a pretty tight race. There, Tua's doing great. I think your offensive line is definitely improved. Your defense is definitely improved, and you guys are 4-2 at home, 4-2 on the road. Sorry. I don't know why I'm yawning so much right now. But yeah, I'm definitely a believer in the Dolphins right now. Moving on to Jaguars and Vikings. Jaguars almost stole this one. Almost stole it. The Vikings won by 3 in overtime off a field goal. They got the interception off of Mike Glennon, and then went down and got the field goal. As for the Vikings, pretty good game from both. Their running back and their quarterback. 305 yards, 3 touchdowns for Cousins. Dalvin didn't score, although he did have 120 rushing yards. You're 6-6, not bad. You took a tough loss to the Cowboys. In between a 3-game win streak in L and then 2-game win streak, that could have been a 6-game win streak for you guys. But a tough one there. And that puts you guys at 2nd in the NFC North. Behind the Packers, we're 9-3. I think this team, it has the weapons it needs. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook. And I think their quarterback has a lot to prove in these playoffs. Kirk Cousins if when they make it to playoffs, he's got a lot to prove, and I think he is probably the quarterback that has the most to prove at this point in the playoffs. To prove that he's talented. He's never been that guy to make it through the playoffs very well. It's always he's always played when he was playing for Washington. Those weren't good times. Oh, what the frick happened? But now in Minnesota, he's got a team around him. And I think he can lead this team pretty far. He went to the playoffs 3 times. Twice with Washington. Only played very minimally in the first season. The second game, they lost their first round. He didn't play great. And then last year in Minnesota, they won, and then they lost. I think, if Kirk Cousins can lead this team to a Super Bowl, who do you got to go through, really? The best team in the NFC right now is for me personally, is the Packers. You got the Rams and Seahawks locked up in the West, which I think the Seahawks are a very good team, and obviously the Rams are good too. The Seahawks defense is just terrible. Russell Wilson is obviously the second most sacked quarterback in the league. So if they can't shore that up, then they're not going to go anywhere in the playoffs. The Saints are 10-2, although they have Taysom Hill at quarterback, who has obviously been good for them. But if he has to play but I don't think the Saints will go that far with Taysom Hill. You got the Buccaneers in there too. They're 7-5. They haven't been as impressive as I would have hoped. Tom Brady hasn't been that great. He's been good, not that great. Then obviously the NFC East is just a shit show. Who cares? Giants and the football team are both 5-7, so that's a race for them. And then you got Packers Vikings, and I think the Packers are the best team in the league. I think in the NFC, Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback right now, and Davante Adams is the best receiver right now. Stats wise, Matt Ryan isn't doing anything great for Julio Jones at the moment. But Davante Adams is on another level. Michael Thomas, no. DK's crazy, but if I had to, who I think is a better football player, and you're talking beginning of the season, next season, then sure, DK's up there. Michael Thomas is up there. Mike Evans is up there. Julio Jones is up there. But right now, Davante Adams is the best receiver in the NFC. And a top 3 receiver in the NFL, 100%. He's just been going crazy. Even in this one, he had... oh, wait, I'm not even talking about the Packers. I'm talking about the Vikings. My bad. But yeah, I'm talking about Vikings receivers, though. Justin Jefferson, first Vikings rookie to have 1,000 yards in a season since Randy Moss. He also joins a few guys. I think it was 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns by a rookie. He joins Odell Beckham Jr. and Quan Bolden. Marquise Colston, Randy Moss, and yeah, Randy Moss. So pretty good company there for Justin Jefferson. I think he's the Offensive Rookie of the Year. For sure, he leads rookies in receiving yards by a mile. He leads them in touchdowns by a mile. He had 121 yards and a touchdown in this one. Big play threat, super fast, quick, great route runner, can get separation, and just torches defenders. So he's on my vote for Rookie of the Year on the offensive side. As for the Jaguars, I like Gardner Minshew. I think he has what it takes to be a franchise quarterback. You know, barring injuries, obviously that happened this year. I don't know if you guys are going to pick a quarterback. There's a lot of talent this year in the quarterback department. I know the Jets are probably going to be worse than you, unless you guys lose every game and they win too. They somehow win a game. But you got guys like Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields. I don't know if Kyle Trask is going to be in the draft or Mac Jones. Even guys like Zach Wilson from BYU. There's a guy from I think it's North Dakota State. Same place Carson Wentz went to. I think there's a guy there that everybody's high on. I'm saying they're better than Trevor Lawrence, even. But you got a lot of quarterbacks in this draft, and a lot of teams seeming to need quarterbacks. I don't know if the Jaguars are one of them. I think you stick with Minshew. Let me see here. So in his 7 games this season, he's 1-6. You won your first game against the Colts. And then you lose the rest. Dang, you guys are on an 11-game losing streak. That's tough. You know, in the one win, 19 for 20, 173 yards, 3 touchdowns. On a 3-point loss against the Titans, 339 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. You know, 351 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Bengals, 300 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Texans, 173 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Chargers. He's 1-6, but he's got 1,850 yards, 13 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Those are good splits. Take away the record, he's done well at the quarterback position. Has a good completion percentage at 66%. He's got good yards at 1,850. 13 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. That's a good ratio. It's a decent ratio. Almost 3-1. So, I don't know. Jags fans, let me know what you guys want to do this offseason. Do you guys think you should draft a quarterback? Do you guys think you should sign a quarterback? Do you guys think Gardner Minshew is it? You know, you got James Robinson. You hit gold with him. He's been killing it. Your receivers are meh. DJ Chark is really good. Chenault has been doing all right. Your offensive line is decent. And your defense is young, but pretty good. So, obviously right now, as you're looking at it, Mike Glennon, you don't want him to be your quarterback. I get that. But you still have Minshew. He's just waiting to come back. And you still have a good, decent core around him. So I don't think, even if the Jags have the second overall pick, I don't think you draft quarterback. I think you either go defense, maybe an offensive lineman, or like another weapon for Minshew to throw to. I don't know how deep this draft class is for receivers and defense. I know it's a pretty deep quarterback draft if all the quarterbacks I think are going to be in it are in it. But yeah, I don't think the Jags go away from Minshew just yet. I don't think so. I don't think they should. We're gonna shift gears here to Raiders Jets. This was a game where the only team in the world that could have lost this game was the Jets. I think if you drop a Pee-wee football team in that situation with a good D coordinator, the Pee-wee team will win that game. No, but really, Jets were up 28-24 with 16 seconds left. D coordinator Greg Williams decides cover 0, all-out blitz with a QB spy on Derek Carr. On, like, second down. I don't know what down it was, but when you're up 4 and they're at, like, the 50-yard line, the Raiders were, like, at the 45-yard line, up 4, and you call a cover 0 blitz with a QB spy on a non-running quarterback. Oh, and did I mention this team has like a top 3 fastest wide receiver in the NFL in Henry Ruggs? And guess who caught the ball? Henry Ruggs. Just a straight man-to-man, all-out blitz. And Henry Ruggs just ran right past the dude. Ran right past him. Derek Carr flicked it out to him. Easiest touchdown I've ever seen in my life. That was the most unimpressive defensive play I think I've ever seen in my entire life. Like that could have been the worst play on defense that I've ever seen. And I've seen a dude pick up a fumble and run backwards. Run the wrong way. And get tackled by his own teammate. That doesn't even top this. I just can't believe that. And he lost his job for it. Good. That was the worst play call. I had Jets fans on me trying to justify that call. No, there's no justifying that call. You're down 4. A field goal doesn't win. Oh, my bad. I'm taking my safeties and my corners, and they're sitting on the goal line. I'm not playing press coverage, cover 0 on the second fastest receiver in the NFL, and blitzing them with my trash defense. And the Raiders have a good O-line. You know, Derek Carr was like bottom 20 in sacks allowed. That just baffled me. You know, it's Jets fashion, of course. If they didn't fire their defensive coordinator, I would have thought they did it on purpose. I would have thought Adam Gase called that. I would have thought the general manager called that. That was just the most abysmal defense I've ever seen in my life. I don't understand. And it made the Jets fall to 0-12. 0-12. Crazy. Crazy, crazy. I don't even want to talk about the Jets. The Jets are an embarrassment to the NFL, to New York. Get Sam Darnold out of there. Get Jamison Crowder out of there. Who else plays for the Jets? Mekhi Becton. Any decent football player on the Jets needs to request a trade ASAP. That's another thing, man. How do you not try to overrule your coach? Anyone, man. How did anyone not try to overrule the coach and be like, Coach, that's a horrible idea. Why the hell would we do that? But no, it was Jesus. I don't get it. I don't get it. As for the Raiders, Josh Jacobs didn't play in this one. Not too sure why. But Derek Carr played well, 380 yards, 3 touchdowns, including that big bomb to Henry Ruggs at the end. And Darren Waller went crazy, 200 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. Oh man, Josh Jacobs is out for the Colts as well. So that's tough. He's dealing with an ankle injury. And Jonathan Abram also said that, or John Gruden said Jonathan Abram also isn't going to be able to probably play against the Colts. As for the Raiders, you're second in your division. I think you'll secure second for sure. Behind in front of the Broncos and the Chargers. The Chiefs obviously are your biggest threat. I think you guys got a good young team. Derek Carr's not that old. Josh Jacobs obviously really young. Darren Waller's young. Ruggs obviously young. Hunter Renfro's young. Your defense, Jonathan Abram is a young guy. Max Crosby's a young guy. So you guys got a very young core, and for you guys to be 7-5 is really good with that young core. I don't know if it's happening this year. I mean, a couple years. I think Josh Jacobs could be one of the most dangerous running backs in the NFL, and I think Darren Waller can be one of the best tight ends in the NFL, rivaling that of Travis Kelce. So, just a matter of time before those guys hit their stride, and I definitely think Josh Jacobs hit his stride last year. This year he's kind of struggling. He has been obviously injured as of right now, but he'll turn it around for sure. All right, kind of gotta fly through these ones here. I'm getting too much into it. This is kind of a meh game. Colts Texans. The Colts win, and they're 8-4, so that brings them to a tie with Tennessee in the AFC South. Texans. Deshaun fumbled on the goal line. You guys need a better O-line, better defense. You're negative 35 in net points. You're not putting up a lot of points. Only 288. That's second worst in your division. Obviously, you're the second worst team. And your points allowed are better than the Titans. Better than who's a good defense? You're better than the Raiders. Sorry, not the Chiefs. Better than the Raiders. I think Deshaun Watson's it. I don't think that David Johnson trade was good at all. He hasn't been producing as much as Hopkins has or would have. And then you got guys like Kiki Kuti being your number one receiver as of right now because of Kenny Stills getting released and Will Fuller getting suspended. Colts. I like the Colts team. Phillip Rivers was a good pickup for them. T.Y. Hilton's coming back pretty strong. I like the young running backs and Nyheim Hines, Jonathan Taylor. I think they are really good. The defense is doing well, helping out for sure in this 8-4 record. Rams Cardinals. The Rams came away with this one 10-point win to tie the Seahawks for the NFC West. We will get that matchup here in a bit, and the Cardinals fall to 6-6 and are ahead of the 49ers only in that division. The Rams defense really held Kyler Murray to an okay game. Jared Goff played well. Their running backs played well. Each running back had a touchdown, as well as Jared Goff had a rushing touchdown. Kyler Murray only 170 yards, but 3 touchdowns. He did throw a pick. Kenyon Drake has been balling out this season pretty good. I like to see that. I like Kenyon Drake in Miami. He didn't really get the respect, so he went to Arizona, and he's playing pretty well. He played super well against my Patriots, so Hop played well. Dan Arnold had 2 touchdowns. And the Cardinals are 6-6, so kind of a step back from the start of the season, but decent there. Giants Seahawks. Giants with the upset, making the Seahawks drop to 8-4, tied with the Rams. This game was bad, and the Giants take over first place in the East. Colt McCoy, he didn't outplay Russell Wilson, but Russell Wilson didn't play good at all. Some of his throws were very mind-boggling. His interception he threw was horrible. And the Seahawks defense just couldn't capitalize, man. I get that they only gave up 17 points, which isn't bad. That's not bad for their defense. But if your offense only scores 12, but yeah, Russell Wilson didn't play well. He got sacked 5 times. He fumbled the ball, and he threw an interception. He lost a fumble, and he threw an interception. Eagles Packers. We kind of saw how this one was going to go. Eagles fall to 3-8 and 1, and the Packers improved to 9-3. Aaron Rodgers played out of his mind. 295 yards, 3 touchdowns. He became the fastest quarterback to 400 touchdowns. He was also the fastest quarterback to 200 touchdowns. But now he's fastest at 400. Devontae Adams, 121 yards, 2 touchdowns. Insane. Carson Wentz. The story of this one was Carson Wentz was benched for Jalen Hurts. Hurts came in, threw 109 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 5 touchdowns. No. I'm moving forward with Hurts, and that's really all I got to say about it. Carson Wentz just isn't it for me anymore. I don't think he will be that guy again. Injuries take a toll on people in many different ways, and I think that his injury ruined his career. And I hate to say it, but I think it did. He's just not who he was. I don't think the Eagles should have moved forward with him unless he can show them that he's better. I don't know, but we're going to move on to the beatdown of the Chargers by the Patriots, 45-0. J.C. Jackson had an interception in this one. That is his 6th of the season, and that is 2nd in the NFL. Cam Newton played well. He didn't throw the ball too much, but he had 2 rushing touchdowns and a passing touchdown. Jarrett Stidham came in for 3 passes. He threw for 60 yards and a touchdown. Olszewski had a receiving touchdown and a punt return touchdown. The Patriots also blocked a field goal at the end of the first half and returned it for a touchdown. That Patriots defense got to Herbert. as he only threw 209 yards and 2 interceptions. I think the Chargers are getting they were getting hosed in the first half of the season. They were getting robbed, losing games by 3 and in overtime and 2 and 5 and 7. It's a tough scene for the Chargers, although I think their future is bright with Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, guys like that. Broncos Chiefs. Scare here for the Chiefs. They only win by 6. Drew Lock threw 2 interceptions, 2 touchdowns. And Patrick Mahomes threw 318 yards and a touchdown. Tyrann Mathieu had 2 interceptions. And Travis Kelce had the 136 yards and a touchdown. Washington football team versus Steelers. Upset of the week here as Washington improves to 5-7, giving the Steelers their first loss of the season. Talked about the Steelers a little bit earlier. No run game. Leading rusher, Antonio McFarland, 4 carries, 15 yards. That's not going to get it done, man. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Benny Snell, Anthony McFarland, James Conner. I don't care. You need more than 15 yards to win the football game. Ben threw an interception. He also threw 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. One to James Washington, one to Deontay Johnson. And I already gave my piece on the Steelers. I think Washington is decent. I think Alex Smith, comeback player of the year, easily. And the Washington football team is the only team in the NFC East to have a positive net points. It's only 4, but the Giants are negative 34, the Eagles are negative 54, and the Cowboys are negative 108. So, they have the best net points. Bills-Niners is the last game as the Bills win by 10, proving 9-3, securing that spot in the AFC East. Not securing it, but bolstering their spot in the AFC East. At first place, Josh Allen went crazy, adding to his MVP resume, 375 yards, 4 touchdowns. I think he is definitely up there in voting. I think Mahomes is up there. Aaron Rodgers is up there. Russell Wilson was up there. If you take out the last couple weeks, and the last since week 7, Russell Wilson has the most turnovers by any quarterback since week 7, and that is 12 turnovers since week 7. We're in week 13. The 49ers fall to 5-7, and unfortunately that lands them at last place in the NFC West. You know, Jimmy Garoppolo goes down. You're relying on Nick Mullins to make plays, and I mean, he played well, 316 yards, 3 touchdowns. Did throw 2 interceptions. One was a tip pass, so I can't blame him too much, and one was a great pay by Tre'Davious White. I think the 49ers got a lot of work to do. They need their defense back next season. They need Jimmy Garoppolo back. George Kittle has not played much. So it's just been a decimated season for the Niners, and I can't blame them for losing a crazy amount of games because they don't have half their team. On to a little bit of news. We'll start with... we'll keep it going with football first, actually. Sad news here. Bud Dupree tore his ACL in that last game with the Steelers against the football team. That's a tough loss. Bud Dupree kind of having a lackluster couple of last seasons, but really coming out and playing really well this season. Him and TJ Watt lead the league in sacks by a duo. Obviously, Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd will probably overtake that because Dupree just got hurt. The NFL reinstated Josh Gordon. Again, I don't know how many times he's been banned and then reinstated. But yeah, Josh Gordon, welcome back. Obviously, great receiver. Dealt with some probably personal, probably mental health issues leading to his drug use, leading to him being banned a few times, but he's back. One of my favorite running backs ever, LeGarrette Blount, announced he is retiring. I know he hasn't been in the league for a few years, but he has officially announced it. He was the 2016 rushing touchdown leader and also a 3-time Super Bowl champion. Loved him with the Patriots. He was one of the most dominant, if you're within the 5-yard line, just hand it to him and he's going to run it in for sure. Vontaze Burfict was arrested for battery in Nevada. Dirty player on the field, obviously, and not a good guy off the field. So, yeah. And I already talked about this one a little bit, but the Jets fired their defensive coordinator, Greg Williams, after that abysmal call against the Raiders. Got a little bit of NBA for you. Not too crazy free agency, so I'm not going to go team by team like I did last time. The Clippers re-signed Reggie Jackson to a 1-year deal, and they also signed Nick Batum to a 1-year deal. I'm assuming not $30 million like the Hornets gave him. I had a guy try to tell me that he was worth it. No. Yeah, he was good with Portland, but, his first season with Charlotte, first 2 actually, he averaged like 15 and then 14. So not bad. But if I'm paying my guy $30 million or however much, 25, however much he was making, I want more than 15, man. Like I get it, you're a good defender, above average shooter, but you scored 15 points and you're making as much money as James Harden. No, not James Harden, but you're making as much money as like a guy like Damian Lillard or a guy like Donovan Mitchell, who's scoring 20, 30 points a game. The Lakers extended both LeBron and Anthony Davis. LeBron 2 years, $85 million, and Anthony Davis 5 years, $190 million. Just, trying to repeat, man. Trying to repeat. Got a very good chance to, for sure. The Pistons signed LiAngelo Ball to a 1-year deal. That is the 3rd trio that I know of brothers in the NBA. You got the Antetokounmpo brothers, Kostas, Thanasis, and Giannis, of course. And the Holiday brothers, Aaron, Justin, and Drew Holiday. Now you got the Ball brothers, Lonzo, LaMelo, Lonzo obviously with Pelicans, LaMelo obviously with the Hornets, and LiAngelo Ball being signed to a 1-year deal with the Pistons. Congratulations to him. Congratulations, LeVar Ball. Good job. Chicago legend, man, Joakim Noah retires officially. He was set to be waived by the Clippers and then retires. He was the 2014 Defensive Player of the Year, a 2-time All-Star, 3-time All-Defensive Team. He was a defensive presence back in the day. Won a championship with Florida. 2 championships with Florida in college. So, yeah. Congrats to him on a great career. Hall of Fame? I don't know. But great career for Joakim Noah. Big one of the week. The Wizards and the Rockets swap point guards. They swap point guards. Russell Westbrook is going to Washington Wizards, and John Wall is coming to Houston, as well as the Wizards' first-round pick. That being said, the Wizards won, or the Rockets won the deal. They got a first-round pick, and they're swapping good point guards. John Wall's obviously been hurt for an extended period of time. I think John Wall, at this point in his career, is a discount Russell Westbrook, and by discount, I mean, like, Russell Westbrook's a Lamborghini, and John Wall's an Audi R8. I don't know. Something like that. but they also get a first-round pick, and the Rockets are going to do better with John Wall than the Wizards are with Russell Westbrook, I think. So, yeah. But I can't wait to see Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal play together. It's going to be fun. The Lakers re-signed Quinn Cook to a one-year deal after waiving him, and the Nuggets re-signed Monte Morris for 3 years, $27 million. Good re-signing there for them. Talk a little bit about college basketball. As I said earlier, you'll have the scoreboard behind me, but we'll talk about some little upsets. Luka Garza, again, is the player of the week for me. 35 points, 10 rebounds in his game. Nobody else really went crazy like that. So yeah, Luka Garza, again, man, he's going crazy. Let me see. I know we had a few upsets. Duke falls to Michigan State. That was an 8-6 matchup. Let's see. There we go. Villanova beat Texas. Number 12, Villanova beat number 17, Texas. Number 20, Kentucky falls to unranked Georgia Tech. Number 21, Oregon lost to unranked Missouri. And I thought there was one more. Pac-12 team that lost. Maybe that was in football. But yeah, that's basically all the upsets we had. And any of the good games we had, really. Oh, number 4, Wisconsin lost to Marquette on a last-second tip-in. Saw that. That was pretty cool. Moving on to football. College football this week. Alabama, LSU. Mac Jones is my player of the week. Alabama is my player of the week. Mac Jones, 385 yards, 3 touchdowns. Devontae Smith, the receiver, 231 yards, 3 touchdowns. And Najee Harris, 145 yards, 3 touchdowns. So them 3 are my players of the week. Alabama is my player of the week. They all went off. So crazy. Justin Fields, 200 yards, 4 total touchdowns. Trevor Lawrence, 200 yards, 3 total touchdowns. In their wins. Number 13, BYU loses to number 18, Coastal Carolina, who improves their undefeated record. Number 15, Oklahoma State loses to unranked TCU. Upset there. Number 21, Marshall, who was undefeated, loses to Rice 20-0. Upset there. And then here's the 2 Pac-12 upsets. Number 22, Washington falls to unranked Stanford. And number 23, Oregon falls to unranked Cal. Washington lost 26-31, and Oregon lost 17-21. Tough L's there for the Pac-12, and not a very good showing for them. Well, that's going to do it for the podcast. I know we were a little bit long, hour 15. I got a little carried away with talking about the NFL games. You know, I love being much more than just a numbers guy. I love talking about games and talking to people about sports. So I love sharing my knowledge and my opinions on teams with you in that regard. Anyways, if you made it this far, be sure to like and subscribe. Keep listening. 5 stars, whatever you got to do on whatever you're listening on. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Peace out.